How's it, everybody? Hope you're doing well on this wonderful, warm Thursday evening. Yes, indeed. I have a fantastic guest with me this evening, the very wise and capable Graham De Lange from GSI. How's it? Welcome.
How's it? Good evening, everyone.
How's it? So, yeah, everyone, if you're listening, you're welcome to comment in the live chat if you have questions to ask, something Graham can answer. So let's begin. So, Graham, you are the manager of the Groencliffe Safety Initiative. The Groencliffe Safety Initiative, yes?
Yes, which is actually called the Groencliffe Village, the street enclosure on the northern side of Fort Klaprokorp, that little section of Groencliffe. I've been running it now, I started in 2014, if I can put it that way, up until now. And then from 2017, I started working for the community after I left higher security. And then I started working for the community in Groencliffe.
Okay. So, and I mean, obviously the enclosure of the village, that's been now for what, 6 years, 5 years?
Almost 5 years. December, it will be 5 years.
Yeah.
From 2017.
It's definitely helped.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, the crime has been taken off. Look, there is still here and there crime. If I can put our stats, we have one serious crime per year now, where we had 15 serious crimes per month before it was closed. So the street enclosure has got its benefits, and it's also got its disadvantages. But I would say it's more advantage than disadvantage.
Sure. And it gives people a sense. Look, I like drive around now on the high walls and the gates and the electric fence. People still have it, you know. But I think the monitoring and the access control is definitely a huge. People definitely feel safer. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the problem. People get a bit too complacent. Look, everybody is still allowed to come into the village. We only do monitored access. So we've got license plate cameras. We've got facial recognition cameras at the entrances. So we monitor who comes in, but we're not allowed to not allow people to come in. It's still a free country. It's still government property. But we monitor. And then people get a bit complacent because nothing is going on inside here. It's so secured. So they still leave their vehicles on the sidewalks during the night. They leave their dustbins out at night, which is a tool for criminals to climb over the walls and for criminals to break the window to steal a laptop that's in the back of the seat. It can happen. I'm not. It didn't happen yet, touch wood, but it can happen. It really can happen.
Yeah, and we've got a fellow patrolman amongst us, Herman. Hello. He says, thumbs up to Graham. If you are active and involved with your community safety, you would not understand what Graham is doing. But Herman does. So welcome. Lovely to see Herman. So what has been happening lately, and let's quickly talk pickpocketing. Obviously, there's a commercial area to the Groencliffe, which is opposite the Life Hospital.
Groencliffe Plaza.
Yeah, the Groencliffe Plaza. So what have you found that these criminals are doing? Look, I was there a few days ago and my bag is always in front of me, even though I got scammed a while ago in another area. But you do feel very safe in the area. And so how have people been sort of targeted recently?
So it's not a new trend, it's an old trend, but the trend is picking up very fast. Pickpocketing. It's not only of pickpocketing your cell phone, your wallet, they're pickpocketing your car keys. And that makes it so much easier for the criminals. There's been 2 pickpockets now at Groencliffe Plaza in the last year where they've taken vehicles. But the pickpocketing of cell phones is common. There's been many pickpocketings of cell phones inside the spa itself. Also in the chemist by Groencliffe Plaza. But it's everywhere. It's at markets. It's in Pick n Pays, shopping centers. And they always target the elderly women, elderly gentlemen, omas and opas. Unfortunately, because they're vulnerable, they don't think that stuff will happen to them. And it's not like in the old days where you had to have respect for an old person. These people, they don't care. It's their job. So yeah,
Yeah.
pickpocketing is becoming a big problem, and with the
Yeah.
safety tips on pickpocketing is never put your phones in a jacket that's loose. I mean, you won't feel the hand going in. Always put it in a tight jean or something.
Mm,
Handbags,
mm.
when you carry handbags, turn your handbag that the zip is towards you and not towards the back, where
Yes,
they can
and
easily
don't
open.
close the zipper. I mean, I often see so many putting their wallets and their phones loose. And I mean, I know a
Yeah,
friend of mine was pickpocketed in Menlyn. Also when it was very busy, someone just literally he put his hand in, and before she could blink, it was gone. So yeah,
yeah,
these things do happen. um yeah, we've got someone who's, look, I think in some way or another we've all been affected by crime in this country. There's not one single person. South Africans are hardy, very hardy. Yeah, he says my dad had stuff grabbed off the floor of his car. We can't set the car to only open the driver's door. Oh dear. You know, it happens with certain vehicles and things. um and you just have to be aware. I mean, Cameron's dad, I think, is in his late 70s or mid 70s, so they definitely do target
yeah,
the elderly. And I think, you know, the young people of day need jobs. I think maybe we need to create awareness where young people maybe assist the elderly to shop, to be their extra set of eyes. Yeah. Yeah, Cameron says 79. Well, it's amazing he's still running around and doing shopping, and it's just a matter of time, you know, where we all become statistics. Roadrunner says move to the Cape. It's rustig here.
for now.
Wait till they get a sniff, then you'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose in the flats and that, it's a different story. But yeah, okay. So the pickpocketing. So the tips are, yeah, keep your bags and your personal important belongings close on your person. Yeah, just be aware. And then, I mean, it happens so quickly. Like, I always think I'm streetwise, and they spot you. They see you coming. They judge your body characteristics. They judge they sum you up. They see, are you thinking about other things? Are you in a hurry? Are you, you know, I was mugged at an ATM, and I mean mugged, they stole my bank card blitzvinnig away from me. And after 3 attempts, finally convincing me, I was very stupid. I was stupid, but you know, it was just nuts. And
People get too complacent. They get too relaxed in their own. They set in their own ways, and unfortunately, you have to be vigilant everywhere you go. When you stop, look around. When you go to your house, when you park inside in your house, stop, check who's following you. If something is following you, that stupid thing. Just drive around the block if you see there's a car by chance behind you. You never know if it's a criminal. So it's
mm,
always be vigilant.
mm. And I would also suggest, if you belong to like the GSI, can I mention the company that patrols in the
Yeah,
GSI?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
it's the
Exxon,
electric
make sure
company.
you have. In fact, I need to do it. I have the other company where I stay number on my phone, but I need to put Exxon's number on my phone, because
Yeah.
if God forbid anything does happen, then I need to call. Actually, I've got your number, so I'm sorted.
Yeah, just if I can say something regarding that,
Mm,
which area doesn't care what area you are. If you are in Centurion, Jan Niemann Park, Roy Scroll, if you're in Pretoria North, support the company that's the strongest. Don't go to your buddy and say, no, yes, Action is good, but it's in Pretoria North. It's not going to help you because they won't be able to respond there fast enough. So always support your company that's the strongest in the area. They're always there. They're 24 hours there, and your response will be
they know
much
what's
better.
going on. Mm. And I thought of something. Yeah, have those numbers available. Have them as a speed dial on your phone. Um, and I thought of something now. I'll think about it later. I always do that. I have severe ADD. I thought about, but yeah, it's scary to think, and especially when it comes to elderly neighbors, you know, help them check that their dustbins aren't out. I mean, it happened also recently that a guy climbed over a wall in an area, and this poor old lady, the oversight, or what was it, malope or myope or whatever these things, and thank God she had a gate protecting her.
Yeah,
Remember there was a story.
that was quite a scary situation. If I would have been a woman, I mean, she was also 79, as Cameron's dad, and he just came in one night, and it was early. It was 7:30 at night, and he came in, got undressed in the living room, and then walked naked up to the stairs and banged on the gate. And yeah, if she didn't have the safety gates locked and closed, then yeah, so it could have turned bad.
Do you recommend any sort of gates? Is it good to have something homemade, like made fitted? Like, because I've seen, listen, I've been to properties, you know what business we do. I've seen literally a gate pulled out of a wall, made one of these dick ship tug ropes, you know, these
Yeah,
huge thick cable ropes
that's
tied
right.
to a gate, tied to the back of a bucky or whatever, and yanked. So like they've been, like, you see where the wall, like the gaps are from the
Yes,
gate.
yes, yes.
So I mean, as long as your reaction time and you've got someone on speed dial and your
Look,
neighbors, be friendly to your neighbors, people.
yeah. Um, the thing is, if a criminal wants to get into your house, he will get into your house. And but if you can delay him, that will buy time for your reaction to get to the premises. We've seen these guys break into a house under a minute. Break in, kick the door down, take stuff, valuables in the house, and then get out. And so put your valuables in a safe, secure area, but where there's security gates. Just make it difficult for them. Even in your property. I mean, if you have a layout of an alarm system in your premises, I mean, your first line of defense is your electrical fence, which is connected to your alarm. So if they cut that, the alarm will go off. If they bypass that, you've got outside beams. I mean, that's your first secondary line of defense. And then once they get into the house, it's too late. So if you can have an early warning system to detect them before if they get into your property, I mean, that's always an advantage point, and it will also buy time for your reaction to get there. I see in Groencliffe, well, it's not fair to the other people, but in Groencliffe, I suspect my reaction guys to respond within 2 minutes. There's almost no excuse for them not to respond that fast. Well, unless they got an alarm or they're busy with something. But normally they should respond around about 2 minutes. And that's been the norm since 2014 inside here. And I've set the standard for many years, and I expect them to do it as well. So, yeah, it's just make it difficult for the criminals to come in, and then it buys time.
Yes. And also I think lights, look, now with load shitting, people, I don't call it load shedding. When I'm polite, I call it load shedding. I call it load shitting. Having solar lights on, maybe, and because obviously I don't know if all electrical fences go down. I think most of them have a backup.
Yeah,
They
no,
should have a backup.
all of them have a backup battery. So it's, on that topic as well, even your alarm system, your gate motors, and so forth. Whenever there's load shedding, and that batteries are very finicky. If they drain out, and you can chuck the battery away. So always check your batteries every 3 months. Get a guy out or test them. Get it tested. Test your batteries. Put a load test on it. See if the battery is still healthy. Because
because people
that's very
don't
important.
forget.
Yeah, they do forget. They do forget. And
People
there's
forget.
places that is not too expensive with the batteries. I mean, I help the Groencliffe people out to go and check their batteries and to change them if needs to be changed.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be calling you tomorrow.
100%. Not a problem.
And then obviously, like, I know it sounds crazy, like I'm thinking medieval war tactic, right? Like, I don't know what the bush is called. You were in nature conservation as well. You
Yeah.
get these spiked, they look like spiked horn hedges, right? I know bougainvillea also have big thorns. Like, I
Yeah.
literally want to plant these things against the whole of my sidewall. So when these oaks do come a trodding, they're gonna get aina.
It's a security measure, 100%. Sometimes putting a light in a certain place is also a security measure that you can do. It's not normally putting up electrical fence or putting up beams. Only a light will be sufficient in certain circumstances. So even plants as well. I see a lot of people plant these thorn trees or these spiky brushes, if I can put it that way, and it works. I mean, it works.
No, definitely, it's something, and people just don't think, and that's them something I've been wanting to do. So yeah, it's something I'm working on met my stiggies. Yeah, Nick Mueller says, well, yeah, please don't get cheap Chinese batteries. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't know where you get the more expensive one, probably a German made one.
No,
I don't know
you
what.
can get by Communica, you can get by SP Power. What is that name?
Wat
I just
staan daar?
ordered
Ek wil
batteries.
dit neerskryf.
I just ordered batteries now today, but
Say those names again, please.
Communica,
Communica, yeah.
they're quite a well-known place to buy batteries from.
Mm.
And then the other one is SP Power units.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And where would you get them? At a local? Would you order them, or could anyone? Could you a specific wholesaler, like an electrical
No,
wholesaler?
anybody can buy there. Anybody there, you can phone them and place an order, and then you can go pick up, or you can drive there. So just
Okay.
Google it. It's very easy. Yeah.
Okay. And that should be hopefully nationwide. Yeah, and yeah. The next thing, obviously, that also happens a lot in Pretoria is car theft, and
Yes, that's
the
crazy.
everywhere. Oh, by the way, just before talking about the gate thing quickly, let me just go back to that. I know a family, they weren't home. I think the people had been watching them, that the mother leaves to go and fetch the kids in the afternoon. They literally drove the gate down.
They do it.
Okay. They drove the bloody gate down and bashed down the front door. She had no gates on the front door, nothing. And they ransacked the house, took valuables, documents,
But that,
passports,
but
IDs.
that tells me that they had information what's inside the house. If they're so adamant and so persistent to come into a property, then they must have got a tip off of what's in the house. If a normal burglar comes during the daytime, 11, 12 o'clock at night, they'll lift your gate and they'll come in, kick the door down, run in. Under a minute, grab the TV, grab whatever they can find that's valuable in sight, and then they make off. We've got them in 40 seconds that they're in and out. So because they know the reaction are responding quick. So that tells me that they got information and they were adamant. Somebody told them what's in the house. And yeah.
I'll have to tell her. And also, one thing I noticed, another mate of mine, and this is crazy. Like, these are 2-3 people that are in my inner circle that stuff has happened to in the last year. Another woman was followed home from a very new, prominent shopping center. They watched her. They saw she was with her kids. They saw she, drives a fancy car. And sometimes, apparently, I spoke to the guys at the center because I went past there a week after, and they said they don't even use the same car. They'll change cars. They'll have another car watching at point A, point B. Okay, now they're turning north on that road, or they're turning south there. You tactical or not tactical, boewe 1 and boewe 2, dan volg jy daar. So yes, we're living in a literal war zone until
Yeah,
this
with,
government gets its, which it won't. The ANC will
mm,
never get its shit together.
no.
Never.
With the followings, it happens a lot at Brooklyn Mall. They'll target women that's going to the expensive boutiques. They'll make, if they do shopping, and they'll monitor and see what rings is she wearing, what watches they're wearing. That's exactly how the Rolex gangs are operating. So you'll have spotters that's in the mall, and then I'll follow you out to the parking area, and then I'll phone their friends that's on the outside and say, okay, listen, we're at parking 3. This white BMW is coming out now. So they'll consistently be in contact, and that's unfortunately our flaws inside the village, because we don't know who's a criminal coming in. I mean, they can change the number plates to a vehicle that's not been sought by the police, and our cameras won't pick it up. So that's always be vigilant when you drive. If you see this polo is following you too many times, if you got a security company, phone them and say, listen, this polo is keeping following me. I'm at this road, I'm turning here. Or drive to the nearest police station and drive somewhere straight into the police station if you feel this vehicle is following you, deliberately following you, and you can sense it.
I mean, I must tell you a good, happy story about the SAPS. A friend of mine was in a. I've got lots of friends with lots of stories, but they won't come on the show. Her tire burst and she lost control of her car, and angels were behind her. I still think this SAPS man, maybe I can contact him and ask him if he'll come on. They did a good Samaritan thing. They checked, no, something wasn't right. They said that she drove like better than Hamilton, not or Max Verstappen, because like she was dodging cars. She totally lost control of the vehicle. Okay. And she basically, the car did a spin. She managed to get off the road. How the hell? Okay. Her one side mirror was smashed, but she managed to control the car and not kill anyone, and not herself included. And they came to her aid. They took her wheel that was buggered, took it to the speedy, whatever it was, fixed her, made sure she was right, phoned me because she was in no state, phoned me, told me where she was. I rocked up. She was shaken and just like she'd actually just come from the cemetery. So she was really like, thinking, oi, something spooky's happening here. But she's fine now. And I just want to say I was very, very surprised that the SAPS still care. So, yeah, I think you say driving to a police station. I don't know. You have a good relationship with the police, right?
I have to.
And you find,
Regardless,
how do you?
regardless if they're corrupt or not, I have to be their chommies. I mean, if I need backup or if I need assistance immediately. But we have identified the fraudgogas in the police station, so we know who to talk to and who not to talk to. And
Okay.
so, unfortunately, there is corrupt policemen everywhere.
Yeah, I'm getting they say in Yiddish, a mapola. I'm getting a waarschuwing. Be serious about security. I know it's serious, but I mean, I don't want to start crying. So if I make a grappie here and there, yeah. But yes, it is very serious. And I think, like, also growing up, we used to walk. I mean, in the old days, you were okay to walk everywhere, but I was always aware. I was always sort of, with friends, never alone. If I was going somewhere, I'd always tell someone. And also with like traveling overseas, I always made sure my documents were backed up on my email, always told my friends where I'd be.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
No,
good
listen,
practice.
you've got to think out the box. You've got to sort of almost be a step ahead of the criminals.
Yeah, that's exactly why I fight with my daughter. My daughter is now 16, and wherever she goes, I need to know. I said to her, yeah, you're going to be naughty. I know you're going to be naughty. You're going to do things that you're not supposed to do. And but I just would like to know where you are. If the shit hits the fan and I need to jump in my car and I have to drive to a point. But if you get to that point and you're not at that point and you're at another point where you didn't tell me, there's going to be repercussion. But yeah, that's always think
does she get it? Does she get it?
No, she gets it. No, she's got a good relationship with me.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I remember my friends, because I suppose I had a lenient mom, not so lenient as I suppose depressive. She was going through major depression, so I could literally get away with murder. But I mean, friends, I never forget a friend of mine's mom rocked up at the house at like 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Is my daughter there? And I was like, no. Like, this friend didn't even say to me, I've told my mom I'm sleeping at you, but I'm actually going to so-and-so. And I was like, onbewust. Like, and I gave her such hell. Like, who does? Like, that's just so irresponsible. But to sort of be like the devil's advocate, her mother was incredibly strict with her. And I don't think, you have to be lenient. You have to compromise with teenagers. You have to give them a bit of rope, let them earn the rope, not enough rope to hang themselves. But yeah, I think it's very important to communicate with teenagers and show them scary shit so that they wake up, you know.
My
Really.
kids have seen very scary stuff with me.
And
We
yeah,
ran over.
you
Yeah.
okay, so now let's talk car theft, vehicle hijacking. All right, so the most common scam.
Okay, vehicle theft. Vehicle theft is out of the roof. It's completely blown out of proportion. Some weekends we have for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday we have. I think the highest was 27 vehicles stolen in the east on the whole weekend. That's Fortuners, the new Toyota Fortuners, the new Toyota GD6 Buckies, the extended cab and the double cab, 2.4 and 2.8s, Legend 50s. Very common. Prados, the new Prados as well from 2018, 2019 upwards. Land Cruiser VX, those vehicles are hot on the list. I'll come back now why they're stealing the vehicles, but yeah, the vehicle theft has just gone crazy, and it's so easy to steal these vehicles. They call it an OBD reader. It's a computer that they plug into your computer plug in the vehicle, and then they can reprogram your whole vehicle. They steal a Toyota Bucky in almost 40 seconds, and then they're gone. That's how quickly it is. We've seen them take a Prado within 30 seconds. They were gone. That's how quick it is. Then they don't need the key. They can take any other key because they code that key into the computer and they reprogram the whole system and then start it and take off.
Are you talking
Sometimes
about
I
the
don't.
carry keys? Are you talking about these carry keys that?
Yeah, that's it. On some of the models, they don't even need a key. They just program it and they put it into drive and they start it. That's how easy it is. And then
Sure.
they got jammers. They got signal jammers.
Yeah.
And these signal jammers are military spec signal jammers. Some of them are 16 to 30 channel signal jammers, which is very, very strong. I mean, they'll probably have, when they're driving, they'll probably have a 20-meter radius where there's no signal. So all the cars around them, your phones will be off. My radios will be off because our radios are GSM radios.
Okay, well, for the layman, what is GSM? What's another radio? GSM
GSM
is?
it's a SIM card radio.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a radio that uses SIM cards. So yeah, the car theft is out of this out of the roof. It's exploded. Why they're stealing the vehicles is because Mozambique and Zimbabwe don't do imports on Toyota spare parts.
Okay.
So all our stolen vehicles are going to Zimbabwe for spare parts, and that's where the market is now.
I've
So
heard. I went into a dealership not so long ago. Bless you. I went into a dealership and I inquired about one type of car. I'm not going to mention the car. I don't need a lawsuit. But they were saying that this car is now, whether the guy was trying to just sell me one of these vehicles or not, it's also I think it's a Japanese make. Kind of very popular now that they're now using those car parts in Toyotas. I don't know. But I also know that they steal a lot of the Land Rovers and stuff because the roads are bad in Africa and they need these big 4x4s to navigate and go into the jungle and
that's
into the bush.
that is true. But yeah, that's why they are stealing the vehicles.
Okay. So what I do, this is what I do, right? So I lock my car with the key. Okay. Somebody said to me, because it happened in Brooklyn, and they used a nice lady, okay, someone unsuspecting completely. They parked a huge, I think it was a Mitsubishi Jeep next to me, okay, and I went out just as I just caught them. They'd obviously seen me coming, that my lock was all puchai and it was all bent and buggered, and my car was actually open. I must have just caught them. and I used to park at the bottom of Woolworths, around the other side.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, this nice young, maybe my age, comes chatting to me, and I was just like, okay, usually I'm the chatty one. And obviously, she was distracting them. But my groceries were taken out of my car, or the few packets that I'd
Yeah,
put there.
that's typical theft out of motor vehicle.
Yeah. So besides them trying to actually steal my car, I think, and when I went to the SAPS to report it, they said to me, don't even report it. Go to the key shop down in the industrial area. There's a key guy there. Just get them to make you a new one. Don't even
Yeah,
waste
but
your time with insurance. The excess will be more.
that's completely wrong. Well, if you had something, if you had something valuable, but regardless of that, any crime needs to be reported to SAPS because they work on a statistic system. So if no crime has been reported or no cases have been opened, then I'm like, okay, we're not going to put a vehicle in that area so much because there's no crime. Let's rather use the vehicle more in our better areas where the crime is more and put more visibility there than that area. But meantime, that area is also a hotspot for crime, and that it's not getting reported. That's the problem.
Mm,
The police are just
mm,
lazy to open dockets to write and do the whole process. That's the problem. Even with cell phone grabbings and pickpocketings, that they show people away at the police station to say, listen,
Well, can't we get it? I always thought like they should have these big. I'm sure overseas they have them, like huge automated machines like computers where you pick your crime. Like, okay, obviously, is it a road accident? Is it this? And then you have the road accident, different types of pictures. Was it oncoming? Was it sideways? Was it this? Like, you can do this now with technology, and you
yeah.
can literally pick your pictures or pick your scenario and punch it in, and you don't have to rely on lieutenant, or no, not lieutenant, corporal, or I don't know how the ranks work in the police, but sergeant, whoever, to sit there and write in his mucky handwriting for half an hour while you retell the story. In fact, nowadays I think they'll let you write it. I don't know if they still have to write it. It's like so archaic.
No, yeah, you can write it if you know how to write it. There is a certain format how your statement must be. But no, you can write it and you can give it in. But normally, what's best if you have a lawyer and then a lawyer assists you to write it, to do the wording correct and stuff like that. Normally, in serious crimes, I would suggest anybody doing a statement must let a lawyer assist you writing a statement and just to get the wording correct. Because yeah, when you're in court and you get cross-examined, those guys are ruthless. You feel like punching them once they start.
Yeah, if your statement hasn't been or
That's it.
misinterpreted or
That's it.
understandable.
And
Yeah, no,
it's yeah, it's very important.
and that's why I don't understand why it can't just be automated like a computer, like something touchscreen, something easy. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Yeah.
it's technology that needs. But this is what I think. What I blame the ANC for as well. They like to keep the people dumb and down and disadvantaged, and ignorant. And let's just In fact, Pumi Mashisheho said something very interesting on the Cliff Central app show this morning. She was saying that, almost, what are they called? I can't think of the name now. Anyway, she was saying that these guys that are coming in and creating problems for foreigners and all of that, the Zamazamas and all these people, are trying to distract the people from the real shit
Yeah.
that is the problem with the government. Like, let's focus the attention on something else so that you don't hold the government responsible. Meanwhile, the bad, I don't know, I'm feeling very political tonight. I don't know why. But no, it's not cool. Okay, so what I do is I lock my car, all right, with the key. And then the key guy said to me, then press the button. But surely that defeats the purpose
No, you can just lock your car normally and just feel if it's locked.
if it's locked.
No, but also with the theft out of motor vehicle thing is when you're at the garage, normally they don't use a jammer. When you climb out, they'll climb out at the same time. And then as you walk away, he walks past your car and he clips the door open just a little bit. So when you lock your car, you feel on the side of your car, okay, my door is locked. Or some cars does lock all the doors, and some
Yeah.
cars just refuse to lock. So it's your own discipline to make sure how your
Yes.
vehicle operates. So if you press the button, you know all 4 doors will lock. If you press the button and the doors does not lock, then you must check one door might be open, and so on.
And also stay at your car and wait till it locks, and maybe check what's around you. If you're not in
That's
a
the thing. So when you get out of the vehicle, look in the vehicle next to you. It's normally a small vehicle, dark tinted windows. Sometimes 2, sometimes 1 oak in the vehicle. I mean, we have caught many car jammers here in Groencliff by the engine garage. Many,
okay.
too much actually.
No, we're gonna get Lloyd for advertise. Crincliffe is a wonderful area, people. It's pretty, it's nice, and we have an amazing security man who is protecting us. So let's not let's not chase away anyone from Crincliffe. We don't need a lawsuit. No. Um it's look, I feel safe. And I am just aware. And I think when it comes to old people, help them out. You know, it's so important
For sure.
to just, yeah, you know, we've really lost our neighborly manners. You know, we've become, a lot of people, it's sad, it's sad, we're too scared
Very sad.
to look at our own shadows. And by being respectful and kind and considerate, life will get better, no matter what
Yeah.
your color, no matter what, anything. We have to look after each other, we have to look out for each other, and it comes back to you. Good deeds do come back to you, I believe that. So yeah, okay, so lock the vehicle, instead of, unless you can only do that, but then check if you're not in your own
Yeah.
area, or you feel a little bit like your sixth sense is tingling. Yes, yes.
And as I said earlier, people are too relaxed or to set in their ways. So, I mean, you get to a garage, you're in a rush because you need to get to work or you need to get to a meeting. So you jump out of the vehicle, run halfway, click, 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 click. And you're in the vehicle, buy your stuff, come out, your laptop's gone. And that's the problem. Don't rush yourself. I understand you're in a hurry, but take that 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Stop, feel the door handle, make sure your car's locked.
No, it's so important. Yeah, yeah, and you've also had some gallant raids where you've gone into, like, obviously you've identified the problem houses. There are houses that are earmarked for development or are empty, and
Yeah. Okay. So the rates is a it's a thing that you need to monitor. As soon as you see there is an increase in vagrants, boemelaars, in the area, and the numbers are getting higher, then we start doing a raids. As soon as you see there's petty crime rising, then you start doing raids. And that's why I've got a good relationship with the police station in our area, Sunnyside. And if I see there's an increase, I organize a raid, and then we would tackle building sites. We will go in and make sure that all the builders are not illegal immigrants. Everybody's got papers, things like that. We would go to the bushes where they put up shacks and stuff, and we would break them down, and we would throw everything back, because we work with us with a COT as well. They send trucks to us, and to load up all the rubbish and everything like that, because they just make a mess, but also they out there to steal. I mean, the guys that was responsible, I see one guy asked me of Fort Klaprokorp if it's safe to
yes, I was
ride
looking.
bicycle in Groencliff and Fort Klaprokorp. I mean, the guys was staying under our noses that was doing all the robberies until I think it was 2017 when we shot them. And then I think a year later, I shot another one in Fort Klaprokorp doing the robberies. And then from there on, everything went quiet. But then we raided, and then I had informants and stuff that worked for me, which is still working for me. So they giving me tip-offs, and these guys were sleeping under our noses all along. I mean, these guys. A quick story. There was this guy that was sent, I think, 35 years jail He was 2 attempted rapes in Groencliff. One was in Groencliff and one was in Fort Klapperkop Nature Reserve. And then those guys, I just started working for high risk, and then we apprehend those 2 guys that was robbing the people. And he got 35 years, and he was also sleeping at Fountain Circle in the bushes. So yeah, the raids help a lot. The raids help push the criminals a bit further away.
Yeah.
So
And what do you find on these sites? Like, I've seen photos, but tell.
not much junk. I don't know if it's stuff that they've stolen that's not to value of them. Sometimes we find weapons, knives, and knockieries and stuff like that. But a lot of needles and
I
stuff
should
like
have
that.
loaded the pictures. I don't. My one phone crashed and I can't retrieve stuff. Shame, het jy verkoue, meneer? Jy
Yeah,
bietjie
yeah,
sneeze.
my nose is just a bit blocked. Yeah.
Shame, sorry, but no. So I remember seeing that they taped, a piece of wood to a blade. They tried to make stuff. A lot of this
Yeah.
stuff looked like that they'd stolen from shops and yeah,
They improvise. They improvise and stuff. And what a big headache is there's a church on the corner there by the Fountain Circle, and they've got this funny beliefs or traditions or whatever, and they make their own knives and stuff. So the criminals will go steal those knives and to use as weapons. So every time we get there, and it's sad, but unfortunately we have to take it away. It's a dangerous weapon. You're not allowed, as a vagrant, you're not allowed to walk in the streets with a dangerous weapon in your pocket. This Friday, that passed last week Friday, we've got a criminal, an old criminal that was just released out of jail for rape for 2.5 years. And we arrested him before for stabbing a person in a bottle store. And he was inside the village, and he was harassing people and intimidating people. If they say no, we don't have a job, then he starts intimidating them. And when we searched him, we found another knife on him. So then we book him into the police, into the cells, and he gets charged for carrying a dangerous weapon.
And is every case seen through to a magistrate, or are they released on a?
That's a difficult one. That's your evidence always have to be so solid. Otherwise, they'll look at the docket, and if it's not well written, or if there's no solid evidence in the docket or whatever, they say sorry, it's not going to go to the court. I mean, they say that we're going to make our names mampara if we send this docket. And sometimes the senior prosecutor phones me and says, "Listen, your statement is crap. We can't send it. There's a lack of evidence due to these technical points." So they're not going to waste the judge's time and send that docket through. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you catch the oak in the act, and then you have solid evidence. And sometimes the guy's a criminal, the guy committed the crime, but how do you place him on the crime scene? So, so
and you know,
these
it's
raids.
Sorry, continue.
So these raids is a big plus in our area. The more you do frequently, the better. And then the criminals knows. Now, if we get to the bushes where the guys are sleeping, we don't find anything. You just find a blanket. So they don't put up structures anymore because they know we break it down, and it's all the hard work and everything. So they sleep underneath a blanket, underneath plastics in a blanket or a cardboard box with a blanket. And then that's how they sleep there at night times. But if we get it, we chase them away.
Nick says, there goes. So when you say it's particularly a vagrant walking with a knife, so it's not like a normal person in the street.
No, I mean, I suppose any person that you have a suspicion on that you know is here not for cookies and tea, but why is he there? Is he from the area? Does he work in the area? I mean, it's a different story if he works in the area. He's well known in the area, or things like that. He's well known underneath the gardeners. I mean, all the gardeners in Groencliff knows each other. But if there's a different person here, and who's this person? What is he doing here? What is your business here? Why are you carrying this big knife? Why are you carrying a knife and a pepper spray? I mean, that's normally the thing. But we don't handle it. We'll get the SAPS out, and then the SAPS conducts a search. If we have a suspicion, we that's by law, and then we'll get the police out to do the searches and stuff like that.
Yes, Nigel says he's been broken into 6 times in the last 15 years. Nige, you need to get devil thorn growing around. I don't know what your home has, but obviously it's something's attracting them. Yeah. Get the dog.
Where is Nigel staying?
Nigel, I think, lives in Joburg somewhere. He'll answer us now. But like we were talking in the beginning, use what you can to deter them, obviously. But thank God you haven't been hurt. But your trauma must be horrendous. And that's the thing that I think they were talking about, the anger of South Africans on a show, on a podcast I was listening to the other day. And we are angry because we are violated in our own private spaces. We are made, we trusting, we good people. I think all people intrinsically are good, and yet these guys see the opportunity, and it's horrendous, and some of the stories are devastating. So but we are brave as South Africans. We can take on New Yorkers proper. And one thing I think you should also tell your daughter, which I've told my teenager as well: no grown-ass man is going to come to a child and ask you for help. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If a grown-ass person comes to you and says, "Oh, I need help," tell them, there's a grown-up. Go and ask them. Leave me alone. And if you have to start screaming or shouting or whatever, do it. Because
or use Google.
or use the law.
Yeah.
No, it's and if someone, if you see the same person, let someone know, because often that's how these child trafficking things. In fact, a show that I'm going to do eventually is about child trafficking, and it is something very real.
Very big one.
I mean, I saw something. I actually wanted to talk to you about it on the corner of Robert Sobukwe and Nelson Mandela Road.
Yeah.
There where the old Billy's Village used to be.
Yeah.
So this week I saw, if he was 6 years old, he was a small 6 years old. And I didn't know who was with him. There didn't seem to be anyone around. And I had to go and drop off something at one of the buildings. And I just thought to myself, it's the second time I'd seen a child in the streets begging for money in the middle of the day. I can't recall what time it was, but it was school hours. And I don't know if it was a foreign national child, but my heart just broke. And I mean, my one thought was phone child welfare. But this is what's happening now in Scummy-side. This is what's happening. Well, I can't call it Scummy-side because Sean's a ward councillor there, and he's really trying to clean it up. But I think on that side of the road, it's out of his ward. I think his ward stops there, literally. But there was this little kid begging for money and looking in cars, and I didn't know if there was a gang with him or what, like waiting to be called. Like he literally came to my window and he did this.
No, they beg for money. The parents put them up to it, to beg for money.
But I mean, I think he literally had to stand on his toes to look in my window. And I don't drive a big car. And I just thought, no.
That's what they do.
But being alone, I didn't want to chance that, I stop, get out the car, and the next thing I've got 2 big O's around me, taking my phone and my bag, and I don't know. And that's the fear as well, is that South Africans are scared. South Africans are scared to do something. Yeah. But maybe drive past there tomorrow and check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I will. I will. I mean, there was also, if you're coming from Fountain Circle into town, by the first robot, where I think it's an MBT garage now, on the right-hand side. They're by the BMW dealership.
Yeah.
Now, by that robot was an Indian guy that normally begs for money. On the left-hand side, there's an island. And in that island was his 5-year-old daughter living with his mom in the bushes. 5-year-old daughter. So we had social workers out there and stuff, but I see that back. I don't know if they run away from the social workers' shelters, Unfortunately, there's rules and regulations inside the shelters, and they don't normally want to comply with it. So it's sometimes difficult keeping people in the
Nigel
shelter.
says, no, it's hectic. It makes me depressed, people. It like literally I want to,
Just
and
to,
who do we blame? The government. But carry
yeah.
on voting for, and if you don't vote, you put them in by default. Just know that. Everyone says, "Oh, well, I don't vote." Well, if you don't vote, then you also make them win.
Just to
Vote for
touch
anyone.
on that complex that Nigel has mentioned.
Mm,
Last week Thursday, no, 2 weeks back, Thursday. Last week Thursday, they reported a new Legend 50 Toyota Bakkie stolen in Makelniak. So by chance or by luck, the guy left his bunch of keys with a AirPod tracker on the key. It's like looks like a key ring, which can be tracked by an Apple phone as well. And he started tracking his vehicle wherever it went. And we started helping searching, and we were in town, and then we were in Pretoria West, and then we were close to Atteridgeville, then inside Atteridgeville, then outside Atteridgeville, and then in Danville, and then, believe it or not, 20 minutes later, the device updated inside Waterkloof Golf Estate. Then we surrounded the premises, and the people inside the house where the vehicle was registering, one guy ran out of the house into towards the golf course. And then the police surrounded the premises, and we started searching for the one guy that ran away. And then we found the bakkie inside the garage, and it was the whole syndicate's house where they stripped bakkies. We got 20 number plates that was lying in the garage, tracking devices that was pulled out of the vehicles where they stripped the vehicles inside the garage, and it was a whole syndicate which was unfoiled inside Waterkloof Golf Estate. I thumb suck. It was probably a 9 million rand house.
yeah.
So the
But this is the
criminals.
thing. The guys that made me, the one guy that said to me, "No, put your pin in." So there were three people that came up. The one guy was driving a double cab Toyota Hilux. That's what he was driving.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the whole syndicate unfoiled. The guys whose house it is was a Botswanan minister, which was arrested in South Africa for fraud and possession of stolen property. And then his brother stayed in the house, and there was a mixture of Botswana nationals and Zimbabwe nationals. And some of the Zimbabwe nationals was kids of high-profile people in the Botswana, in the Zimbabwean police force and stuff like that. So, but there's more. There's more to the story, which makes it nicer. But yeah, I won't be able to share the information,
No, you can't.
which raises eyebrows. But yeah, don't think you're safe in a complex. I mean, these guys use complexes because they're already secured. So who's gonna come and search in the complex? Yeah.
No, and I'm getting a bit of gas here, so from Matthew Dixon. So he mentions Jaco Boyson. Okay, I don't know if maybe you know him. I know Mr.
Was he?
Musica does
Yeah, our music. We used
the
to do it.
musical.
Yeah, we used to do it with him as well when we did those human trafficking on the air. We waited for those guys that they managed to get out of. I think it was China or some Asian country where they got scammed in. Where they got scammed, where they go over as teachers, and once they get there, their passports, everything gets taken away, and they get chucked into a house. So
Yeah, and these are things that are not reported. These are things that are not told to families, kids. So yeah, if you're listening, people, take note. Who should people trust when it comes to something like this? Like a reputable au pair agency, a teacher's college, it boggles the mind.
it
Everyone thinks
does.
the internet is, I don't know about everyone, but a lot of people trust the internet. And we were talking, are we going to talk cybercrime? And you just like, no, people who get scammed need to really catch a wake up.
Yeah, that's the don't be on a
But they're getting so freaking clever. They are doing
they
things.
and they all, again, cyber tracking as well, target all people, vulnerable people. people that's depressed, lonely. So I mean, it's a thing that you need to be you need to be technology wise, if I can put it that way, or cyber wise, and don't fall for everything. It's the same with sorry, Ruth, but it's the same with when you go and draw money. Nobody's allowed with you in the ATM. You know your PIN. You know what your PIN is. You know the computer will tell you if something is wrong with the ATM. So nobody's allowed with you inside that little space.
No, had I been in another space in my head, I think I would have been fine. But I was, yeah, they read your body language. They can see that you're not focused on what you're doing. And I was targeted. So yeah, even little Streetwise me. Matthew says, pick up the child and drop him off. Well, that's what I wanted to do. And something my sixth instinct said to me, nah, not. Listen, Matthew, I think you live in Pretoria. So where I was at the time, there's literally a taxi rank there, and there's like, yeah, it's not the safest area. Promise you now. And I think had I picked up, someone would have come running. I don't know. It's all, and you know they're dead. You know they're being muled to be there. You know they are. So there's obviously some sort of something happening there. Whew, I'm like all worked up. It drove me mad. I didn't sleep like her. So yeah. Nigel says, I must compliment our regional police as they've been very proactive. Okay, you see. And Brandon, an Apple AirTag to your car keys or inside your car. No?
Yeah,
sure?
that's what happened. Yeah, that's Apple AirTags.
Yeah. Albert says, yeah, but these guys have diplomatic immunity. Could be. Maybe that's why they know they can get away with it. But yeah, so all right. Well, we've come to nearly the end of our hour, and thank you so much for sharing your stuff.
No, 100%. No problem.
Yeah, I know I mean, a friend of mine's BMW was also hijacked years ago. It was one of the brand new models. And they just ripped out the tracker. They know exactly where they put them. They just ripped it out.
Exactly.
And he was devastated. I was like, yeah, they couldn't find it. So yeah, maybe the Apple AirTag is the way to go.
Yeah, I had it in my vehicle. Put it on silly places where they won't look.
Yeah. This government, anyway. Yeah, like I say, you have to vote, else you're enabling them anyway. So I don't care who you vote for, just vote. Just not them, bloody thieves. No shame, Matthew. I get it. I mean, I do understand, and it has bothered me. And Graham said he will go and take a drive by. So yeah. The DC mix again was fun. Okay. We'll do that. Now listen, I'm a little bit scared. I watched, but we'll talk about that in another stream. I always do this. I always start chatting about something else. But thank you, Graham. I really, really appreciate all the great and good work that you do. Thank you for having the kahunas to come on and give some insight to the people.
All right. No problem.
Cool.
Thanks,
Hang on there. I'm just going to say cheers. All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a lucky weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.